Hi, it's Hans at ahappierman.com. Today's topic is how to be more carefree. I say more because it's going to be tough for most of you, most of us men, to be totally carefree. I don't think it pays for you to worry about getting totally carefree, but I do think if you want to increase your happiness, you've got to try to get this carefree idea into your mind. One of my favorite guys to listen to is Brent Smith. You might want to Google him. He's got a lot of information about I don't want to get hit by this guy we're on this big bridge and he's creeping over. They had the lockdown is over where I'm at, so maybe people are starting to drink. So you got to watch out when you're driving. But anyway, the Brent Smith, and he's got a lot of materials about how to get more carefree, and the idea of how to be more attractive to women. And his ideas run deeper than just women, because you're, let's say, the better overall your life is, the better you'll probably do with the ladies. But the carefreeness is how do you get to that point, right? If you've been uptight your whole life, it might be hard for you to let loose and be more carefree, not care so much about what people say, what people do, what people think of you. And that when you are just generally going about your days, can you say things? Can you speak up? Can you crack a joke? Can you make a comment? Can you speak up at work? Can you do, you know what I mean? All of this stuff plays into the carefreeness. Can you walk up to a woman you don't know and say, "Hi, I'm so-and-so. You want to dance? Want to, looks like you want to buy me a drink. What are you doing here? Are you causing trouble?" See, all these things, there's a way of talking with girls that they like, and it conveys a certain carefreeness, and you want, to tell the truth, you want this more in your life. So I'll go all the way back. As a child, I was not carefree. For whatever reason, I had a lot of worries, a lot of things on my mind, and it's kind of a long story, but I wasn't like I was very shy. I had a lot of things wrong with me that I felt bad about. I was overweight, I wore glasses, and I had braces for one thing. Greasy hair, and we weren't rich, so the clothes weren't that great. Now, the clothes aren't everything, but it was more like when you're a heavy guy. In those days, it was hard to find clothes that would fit you right. Everything was like tight. So you can kind of see that all of these exterior annoyances, frustrations, contribute to not being carefree, kind of being shy, withdrawn, not willing to speak up, not willing to make new friends, not willing to do things with girls, because obviously, to me it was obvious that the girls liked other guys more than me and liked me very little. But looking back, that was more because I was not carefree. Fast forward, so this followed me from grade school into high school, even though in high school I started to make some strides, right? Got on the football team, and I was a starter and a contributor, and I got pretty good at football, started getting in better shape, wasn't as flabby and all of that, in the teammates and the school, everybody they respected that football ability. So I kind of got back, and then I was smart, one of the smarter kids in class. I wasn't like one of these stupid guys that, but sometimes that's not always the best to be on the smart side in a school. I think you know what I mean. But I still wasn't carefree, right? There was still something missing. And then I finally kind of stumbled on how to get more carefree during the high school, toward the end of my high school. In my junior year, some friends asked me to go to a drive-in movie with them. It was like kind of, like a Friday or Saturday night, and they were, one guy was able to borrow his parents' van, and there was going to be 5 or 6 guys, and they said, why don't you come along with us? And up until then, nobody had ever asked me to anything, or maybe they did, and I knew I wouldn't be able to go, so I asked my parents, and they said yes, which was surprising. Sheltered, being sheltered doesn't help you, and your parents sheltering you, in their mind, they're doing a good thing. So I would never be upset about a parent sheltering a child, never, because they probably have good reasons to do so. So this isn't a talk about that. This is just a talk about how I went from being kind of shy, sheltered, non-carefree, to move myself up that carefree ladder. So anyway, they asked me, I asked my parents, they said yes. I was surprised they asked me, and then I was surprised my parents said yes. And then went up, we met, they said, well, meet us here, we're gonna go from there, and I did that, and then in a few seconds from then, and we got all piled into this van, in a few seconds from then, I started on the carefree journey. So I'm sitting in the back in a lawn chair, and some other guy, he's got a cooler there, he opens the cooler, says, you want a beer? And I was like, what? I'm 17, it's illegal, we're in a car, that's illegal, I've never drank before, that's it, you've offered. And I said, what would every kid say? Yeah, oh yeah, it'd be good, I'll take a beer. I had it, drinking it, and yeah, started getting a little more carefree. We drove to the town where the movie theater is, and we had a couple more, and I guess there was enough beer in there for the drive over, and there was enough beer there for the drive-in. It was a drive-in movie, and there was enough beer to have, and truthfully, I didn't have that many. If you know, when you start drinking, it doesn't really take that much to feel the effects. And I guess, I started having fun and being more carefree. And this was a whole one of these like great teenage nights that live with me to this day. The fun, the camaraderie, the talking to other kids you don't know, the meeting a girl, and all of that, right? All the good stuff. All the good stuff you want as part of a carefree life. So no matter what happens in life, I have a very hard time demonizing alcohol, because it saved my life. It made me be more carefree. Now, certainly, I don't think you should drink and drive. I don't think you should have too much. I don't think you should be drinking all the time. It can kill you. It can kill others. It can ruin your life in an instant. It's just one of these things that you use to help you go from A to B. Sheltered, shy, no fun life, to unsheltered, not shy, fun life. It was a tool. a bridge to bridge the gap, to go from here to here. You understand? To get carefree, you may have to change how you think, and having a few drinks will change how you think. So try as I might, I can't demonize the drinking. I do, applaud people who don't drink and have a successful life. But deep down, I always know that they really aren't that carefree. And I just think if you could incorporate just a tiny amount here and there in the right circumstances, you would help yourself be a little more carefree and enjoy some of the things that doing that drinking would gain you. Now, there's other methods to be carefree. You don't have to turn into a drunk, right? I'm not trying to encourage that. I'm just trying to point out that for me, that you could make use of something like that. That the idea, if you, I don't know if you ever, I used to watch, back in the old days, I'd watch these late night talk shows, with the comedians would host them. I don't know if I haven't watched that kind of stuff in a long time, but I know like Johnny Carson or Jay Leno, you probably heard of him. They used to have like actors and stuff come on to their show, and then they'd interview those guys, and then some of them were like, they're so carefree, it was almost like they were drunk when they walked out and sat there next to the host. That's, the kind of the embodiment of a carefreeness you want to have, even if you're not drunk. You want to channel how that attitude that I'm going to say whatever I want to whoever I want whenever I want. That's kind of the ultimate carefreeness. Certainly I don't do that. When you're working for somebody, you're probably not going to tell them whatever you want, whenever you want, and whatever you want, right? You're going to have limits. But let's just say you want to be more free with your opinion, more free with your thoughts, more free for letting people know what your preferences are. You want to be more, let's say you're trying to be more good with the ladies. You would want to talk to more of them all the time when you get the chance to get good with practice and to I don't know how to tease, talk to, banter, flirt, however you want to term it, that this kind of carefreeness goes a long way to help in your life. From all my website, ahappierman.com, to leave your wife and become a happier man with the 3-step system, and all my articles on those websites and that book, and all these videos are trying to show you that at one time I was a very uptight, sheltered person who had some fun as a younger man, got married, I basically reverted, right? I reverted back to an extremely shy, extremely sheltered, extremely verbally abused. I was never verbally abused as a child. My mom and dad were like fabulous to me. It's just a sheltering for their reasons. But my wife wasn't able to treat me right, and I lost all the confidence and self-esteem I had developed for over a number of years as a younger man. And now, since I've left her, I've had to develop myself again. And part of that is just being carefree. and say, you know what, I don't want to do that, whatever it is, so I'm not going to do it. Or, you know, somebody asked me to do something. Well, nah, I really can't do that. Or I can only do that in a limited capacity. You see what I mean? You have to be able to set your own boundaries, and also kind of be open. You know, if you can get more open and flexible and willing to kind of step out of, you know, of always planning everything to the nth degree, you're going to naturally get more carefree. You know, a lot of times, some of the best times I've had in the last 10 or 12 years, I've had no clue that was going to happen to me. I just was kind of going along with life, and then somebody says, hey, why don't we do this? And then I say, yeah, well, all right, let's do that. And we do it, and of course it turns into just one heck of a great time. So that's open, that's carefree. I didn't have to make all these plans and go to some great elaborate amount of planning and spending money and worrying about something for weeks or months on end. I just let something happen, right? And I attribute that to that carefreeness about saying, well, everything works out for me, so why wouldn't this? So give that idea some thought. Work on being more carefree. Think about it. Think of yourself as a carefree man who kind of goes through life being open to the things that might come to you, and they will come to you if you're open to them. You know, let your preferences be known, kind of in a cool way. Be willing to say no and be willing to say yes. So give that idea some thought. All for now.